Hello everyone, welcome back to TouchTheFireTwice. I'm Joshua and I'm here today to do a Bath & Body Works single wick candle haul. It is a small haul for sure. We've only got 3 single wick candles here to go through with you. I don't know that I'll do in-depth sniff comparison reviews on necessarily any of them, probably not all of them, maybe 1 or 2, depending what I think after kind of sniffing them, burning them, and if there are any requests from the community of what y'all would like to hear more about in my traditional in-depth sniff comparison reviews, where I tend to try to compare candles to existing fragrances that I know and you may know along the way. And so I'll just do the brief overview, first sniff on these. I did burn one of these this afternoon, so a bit of a post-burn review. I can put some footage in there of the burn, but more specifically just talk through what I got, when I got it, why I got it, and what I think on the first cold sniff. So this was from the early March 2022. I think they might have called it a flash candle sale, but it lasts at least a day or two. It's one of those in-store and online deals or sales with Bath & Body Works where unfortunately you do have to use either the code online or have a scanned UPC coupon in store, meaning that you can't stack it with other coupons. Not that I would waste a 20% coupon on something like this, a small candle haul where I just wanted to get a couple of cents that I either didn't want in full size or are not currently available in full size, the 3-wick 14.5 ouncers. So let's get right into it. So the first one I have here is from the Aromatherapy collection, and that is Grapefruit and Sage. What is interesting about the single wicks for the Aromatherapy collection is they have probably 4 or 5 in the single wick that they do not sell in either any other form of aromatherapy, and specifically not in the 3-wick form. So again, these are the standard 7-ounce screw-on decorative black lid single wick candles from BB Dubs. And there's a handful in here that I find interesting. There's a lemon rosemary that I like that actually I think is a repackage of a scent from about 4 years ago. That was a very natural, almost earthy, kind of almost dirty smelling lemon, like not the sweet candy, bright, cleaner, nothing like that. A true authentic, one of the most authentic lemons I've ever smelled in wax, though not specifically much of an herbal rosemary there. Just didn't grab that one. But I did pick up this because I really like grapefruit scents, and there really aren't many right now at Bath & Body Works. Years ago, there was the golden grapefruit in White Barn, and then also the grapefruit gin fizz candles that were both bright, sweet, juicy grapefruits that were really nice. And this actually is quite similar to those in the grapefruit form. So sniffing it, very straightforward. I wouldn't mind this in a 3-wick. There's something about it's a very, I'd almost call it a tropical grapefruit. Citrus fruit, of course, can lean tropical. I don't really get any earthy green sage. They say like a spa day, and they just mention the 2 notes of grapefruit and sage, but I don't get anything other than the grapefruit in this. And it's a straightforward, bright, kind of sparkling, a little bit sugared, sweet, kind of ruby red grapefruit. It is almost candied grapefruit. So I don't know if I'd call it authentic, like biting into a grapefruit, because it doesn't have the bitterness, the acidity, the mouth-watering pucker that you would hope for from a grapefruit. But it's sweet, bright, candied, still kind of authentic in that kind of realm. Almost like a youthful body care fragrance grapefruit, like a sweet, spritz of a summer fresh grapefruit. Still fresh, nice, and I like it. The burn, not great. We don't have good performance much of the time with these candles. I did have to put foil wrapped around it to get a full pull after probably 4 hours. I took the foil off after I got a nice, probably almost 3/4 of an inch deep pool. And then within about a half an hour of that, the pool started to get more and more shallow to where I was like, is it gonna literally go back to having not fully pulled out in a room that was 70 degrees? Not great performance, but for $6.50, I guess what can you expect? If you're gonna pay $30 or $40 for a 7 or 8 ounce candle, like some of the Lafcos, the Boy Smells, the Nests, you're gonna expect quality. You're gonna get quality with Bath & Body Works. A $6.50 single wick candle, it's gonna be hit or miss. So, but I have had some that do burn successfully all the way through when they're lit for a long time, but the throw is gonna be pretty small, not gonna have much of that, projection throughout a space. It's gonna be your powder rooms, your small bedrooms, or just those who like light throw. So that's fine, it is what it is. I do like the grapefruit, and it is very fresh for like an early spring day. Then we go into, I'll save my favorite for last. So next up is the Pear Creme Brûlée. And this is similar to the art direction of the sort of Spring One Valentine's Collection confectionery candles that came out in 3-wick form, but this one came out only in the single wick form. I was slightly interested in this, partially just because, a bakery like a Crème Brûlée, if it was authentic like that, is something they don't do much, Bath & Body Works, and pear is also not something you see a whole ton of, at least outside of fall, of autumn, so I figured, okay, that could be interesting. And on Instagram, it was kind of blowing up. People were freaking out, there were stacks and stacks of hauls of everyone grabbing it and hoping they could get it in a 3-wick form. It did not come out in 3-wick form, at least to date. Doesn't seem like it will at this point, unless it were to come back in another season. The notes on this, again, the bummer is they don't give you the notes on the bottom here. Actually, before I read the notes, I will say, I sniffed it briefly in store, still wearing my mask, got a mask up, keep it safe. And it smelled good enough to purchase for $6.50 at least. And because it was, a fan favorite, I was like, all right, I got to see what the hype is on this. Wouldn't spend probably even $13 on a 3-wick of it, but $6.50, okay, good enough. And I liked it enough. Then, got home, opened this one, and instantly I was like, oh man, I don't really get pear. It's a little sweet. Crème Brûlée, not specifically like a nice, creamy custard with burnt sugar on top of it that's torched so that it just caramelizes and has that burnt sugar taste, with ideally pear, juice in there, or bits of pear throughout there, or just maybe like a brandied pear laying on top of it, beside of it, whatever. Lots of things you could do to make a pear creme brulee, right? And this is related to that, but this is, and then I looked on the website because I'm not super connected to the body care at Bath & Body Works, though I will buy, some shower gels or aromatherapy shower gels typically most often. But then I looked, and this is part of a wider release in, the fine fragrance mist, in the shower gel, the body lotion. And this very much does obviously come across as a body fragrance in wax form, which they do fairly frequently, Bath & Body Works, which is fine. But I talked about this in my Boy Smells Park Life review, is there are some candles that are the candle home fragrance version of a body care fragrance, or personal fine fragrance, and then there are sometimes you're getting a fine fragrance that's based on a candle. Not as often. Usually it's just a candle as a candle. But oftentimes when you're getting a candle that is based on a fine fragrance or a body care fragrance, I think for me, you can almost kind of tell, or there's a certain subset or type where that's obvious that's what it is. And that's obvious what this is, where this is a body care conceptual version of Pear Creme Brulee. It's not an authentic, it is gourmand. It's a gourmand body care fragrance, but it is not a true to life home fragrance replication or interpretation of what a Pear Creme Brulee would be like. The notes, they say it smells like fruity custard topped with a crunchy sugar shell. That's an accurate description of what creme brulee is. Fragrance notes: baked pear, caramelized sugar, and whipped cream. All right, whipped cream is actually not what creme brulee is. It is a custard, but whatever. It smells, Bath & Body Works has that sort of like base, the way they build, it's almost as if for most of their, at least more of their feminine leaning body care signature collection items, unless it's an obvious, marshmallow, fall autumnal apple, something. If it's one of their conceptuals that just leans a little bit fruity, or a little bit floral, or a little bit bakery, a little bit sweet, a little bit gourmand, which they have a fair number of gourmands, it kind of has like this 70% of it that is like their base scent for their signature collection body care that is traditionally Bath & Body Works. Whatever mix of musks or florals or just the base notes and mid notes that they use, that they kind of add, they sprinkle the other stuff on top of, it's pretty obvious when you pick out, if you were doing a blind sniff, you could tell a scent that was a Lush scent versus a scent that was Bath & Body Works scent, even if it's not one of their signature, Japanese cherry blossoms or honey, I wash the kids, or whatever, the different scents are. It's just obvious that it's within that product line, within that collection or brand. And that's what this gives me. It's nice, but it's, sorry, I know a lot of people love it. It comes off very generic to me in that sense, because I'm getting body care in this versus a creme brulee mixed with pear. Certainly it is sweet, like a bakery item or dessert. Not particularly creamy. Caramelized sugar, I don't really get it burnt. I get a little bit of almost like one of those, like a sugar musk or something, where There's certainly some florals dropped in here. Now I like when Harry Slacken of Slacken & Co. Homeworks adds a little bit of, fruit to his florals and a little bit of florals to many of his fruits. This though is musky, floral, not heavy like a Japanese cherry blossom, but you can't argue that there's not some veil of a sheer musk, a white flower, something in here that is more than just bakery. So yeah, this I'm hesitating if I want to actually burn it or maybe return it now that I'm getting this smell, because I don't like it enough in a body care to burn it as a scent I want in my home. And if I wanted a creme brulee of a deep, rich, and a nice little bit of a burnt sugar, almost that acquired taste of like burnt sugar caramelization, with the baked pear, you'd get, it would be warm, it would be maybe a little bit cloying, but in a good way, and, juicy from the fruit. You'd get some baking spices in there. And this is just like sweet in that direction, but has some layers of like spun sugar and things that lean more towards body fragrance. It just smells like a body fragrance to me. End of day, that's the headline. Then we go to one that I do love that came out first, I believe, last year, though I think it might have actually been a repackage of a scent from, might have been a failed test scent, like 2012 or 13. And that is Sweet Carrot Cake. This is, of course, in the Easter packaging. Hop to it with your little bunny butt there. It was cartoony, a little, a little juvenile, but it's cutesy, it's cartoony. That's what you're gonna get for Easter, so I certainly don't mind it. Really nice, rich orange color as well for Easter, for carrots. The notes on this one, they're doing this new thing where they say what it smells like and then the notes. So what it smells like: a rich, baked, just right, Easter delight. Notes: sweet cream cheese frosting, fluffy carrot cake, and cinnamon spice, okay? Again, this came out last year in a 3-wick, and I really liked it. It was authentic, it was strong, it was really leaned, because of it was such a true spiced baked good cake, it felt more like fall warm baking spices, so more like a fall candle, but could kind of convince myself, well, it's a carrot cake, it's fresh, that's Easterish, it works for spring. But it was like on the border of it very well could have been marketed as a fall fragrance. Whether they called it carrot cake or not, it passes for carrot cake, but it could be sold as something else and no one would say, no, that's carrot cake. So anyway, sniffing it though, it's really nice. There is, thankfully, the cream cheese frosting is light. I'm not a huge fan of cream cheese frosting in general, but it's fine for things like carrot cake. There is a good layer of cinnamon and spice, probably some nutmeg in there, some cinnamon, a hint of clove perhaps. Almost a bit of like nut, like oftentimes there's like a walnut or something like that in your carrot cakes. When you think of the spices, even you can throw in a little bit of like crystallized ginger. Not strong in here, but just thinking of like what you get sometimes in a really nice carrot cake. Or even sometimes like a dried golden raisin, that sort of thing. So you get baking spices almost leaning toward a dried fruit side of things as well, because it's not spicy and it's not red hot cinnamon and it's not Christmassy cinnamon by any means. And the cake, the carrot cake, I don't think carrots bring a particular scent necessarily to carrot cake. It's more about the moisture and the color and the texture that they bring. But it is a soft, it feels like a spongy, sort of snack cake that is a baked good. It's not overly buttery, it's not super gourmand, it's not a specific type of cake. It's not your vanilla cake, it's not your batters. It's just a spiced, though not spicy, a spice cake. This is similar to your banana. If they threw banana in here, it would be a banana bread. If it was, just a little bit more generic without the little bit of that frosting scent in there, it could be a zucchini bread, any sort of spiced, bread, which is really just a cake, a cake bread, or sometimes referred to as like a snack cake, or just, like in your 9x13 pan, you slice it into squares and you just eat it that way. That's just pretty straightforward. It's one of those things that it is what it is. It's not anything more than it's supposed to be, but it's authentic for what it is, and it's just nice. I really enjoy it. So that is Sweet Carrot Cake. I may do an in-depth sniff review on this once I burn it, compared to last year's and compared to a couple of the bakery candles from years past. Let me know if that's something you want to see. So that is my quick, not necessarily quick, but my small single wick, 7 ounce, $6.50 candle haul from Bath & Body Works. Let me know if you purchased anything during the sale, what you got, what I should have grabbed that I didn't, and what you think of these scents. And until next time, take care.